egocentrism. During the pre-operational stage, children also become increasingly adept to using symbols, as evidenced by the increase in playing and pretending. So for example, a child is able to use an object to represent something else. And this is where you see children say, this is a sword, and they'll use a pen as a sword. That's basically what that means. Okay, so egocentrism, this is very important when we're referring to Jean Piaget's theories. He says, Piaget used a number of creative and clever techniques to study the mental abilities of children. One of the famous techniques to demonstrate egocentrism involved using a three-dimensional display of mountain scene, often referred as the three-mountain task. Children are asked to choose a picture that showed the scene they had observed. Most children are able to do this with little difficulty. Next, the children are asked to select a picture showing what someone else would have observed when looking at the mountain from a different point of view. So, and I'm going to show you this. Invariably, children most always choose the scene showing their own view of the mountain scene. According to Piaget, children experience this difficulty because they are able to take on another person's perspective. And I also have a video on this experiment, which is very interesting. Oops, I'm sorry. It's not working.
Can you tell me what you see when you look at that from where you're sitting? What are some of the things that you see?
And a cat.
A cat.
And a tree and a barn.
Okay, now we're going to do the same thing. Can you tell me what you see when you look at it from that stool?
An owl.
An owl.
And him.
What is that?
A goat.
A goat.
Yeah.
Okay, is there anything else you see?
Yeah, right there.
Right there, what is that?
A tree.
A tree.
And there's another little tree.
Another little tree.
Right.
And can you tell me what I see when I look at this from where I'm sitting right here?
An owl.
Okay.
And a goat.
Mm-hmm.
And another tree. And that. And that.
Okay, so can you tell me what you see from that side?
A fox and a bone and a volcano and
Yeah.
a rock and a big fat Christmas tree.
Now, Braxton, can you tell me what I see from where I'm sitting?
A bird and a river and a volcano and a horsey and a rock and a
Okay, so that was the three-mountain task, and we could see where children were unable to tell the researcher what she could actually see, and they were just telling her basically what they saw. All right, conservation is a well-known experiment. It involves demonstrating a child's understanding of just that, conservation. In one conservation experiment, equal amounts of liquid are poured into two identical containers. The liquid in one container is then poured into a different shaped cup, and I don't know if you guys can really see that there. And then, so it's going to be one tall and one wide cup. Children are then asked which cup holds the most liquid. Despite seeing that the liquid amounts were equal, children almost always choose the cup that appears the tallest. And I have a picture here, and I hope that you guys can actually see that. Piaget conducted a number of similar experiments on conservation of number, length, mass, weight, volume, and quantity. He found that few children showed any understanding of conservation prior to age 5. All right, so characteristics of concrete operations. This is the third stage, and logic is one of them. Piaget determined that children in the concrete operational stage were fairly good at the use of inductive logic. Inductive logic involves going from a specific experience to a general principle. On the other hand, children at this age have difficulty using deductive logic, which involves using a general principle to determine the outcome of a specific event. And reversibility. One of the most important developments in this stage is the understanding of reversibility, or awareness that actions can be reversed. An example of this is being able to reverse the order of relationships between mental categories. For example, a child might be able to recognize that his or her dog is a Labrador, that a Labrador is a dog, and that a dog is an animal. Characteristics of the formal operational stage. This is the fourth stage. The formal operational stage begins at approximately age 12 and it lasts all the way to adulthood. During this time, people develop the ability to think about abstract concepts. Skills such as logical thought, deductive reasoning, and systematic planning also emerge during this stage. So, back to logic. During this stage, Piaget believed that deductive logic becomes important during the formal operational stage. Deductive logic requires the ability to use a general principle to determine a specific outcome. This type of thinking involves hypothetical situations and is often required in science and mathematics. So here I picked this picture because it's a simple thing. Monkeys like bananas. Lucy is a monkey, so this would be the general principle. This is basically the situation. Lucy is a monkey. Therefore, and this is how we infer our outcome, Lucy likes bananas. Abstract thought, that is something else that comes during this stage as well. While children tend to think very concretely and specifically in the early stages, the ability to think about abstract concepts emerges during the formal operational stage. Instead of relying solely on the previous experiences, children begin to consider possible outcomes and consequences of their actions. This type of thinking is important in long-term planning. Problem solving. This is where we become problem solvers. In early stages, children use trial and error to solve problems. During the formal operational stage, the ability to systematically solve a problem in a logical and methodical way emerges. Children at the formal operational stage of cognitive development are often able to quickly plan and organize approach to solving a problem. And these are your discussion questions. I hope you can use my PowerPoint to answer them. How can teachers apply Jean Piaget's theory of cognitive development to design effective learning activities for students? Provide one activity in your subject area for each stage. What can teachers and parents do to facilitate cognitive development in formal operational stage? Why do you believe Jean Piaget's theory of cognitive development is so important and still relevant today? Compare and contrast Jean Piaget's theory of cognitive development to another well-known theorist of your choice. The last one, as an educator, evaluate Piaget's theory of development. What do you think are the flaws and what can you use as a professional? Thank you.